Hey, what's up guys? In this video, I'm going to be attempting to explain why I go about processing the way that I do. Why do I use like exaggerated, values while I'm working? Like when you're getting into like the creative uh, processing, coloration, things like that, you tend to push it a little bit further than what you would know works in the track. And you're always planning ahead in what you're doing. So I'm going to kind of demonstrate that using something that I did in the previous video, shaping kicks and making them sound nice. So you always want to kind of plan ahead. So I'm going to drop in Saturn here, and I'm just going to split it up. And for the center frequency, yeah, I'll just use warm tape. I'm just going to boost the drive. Right, and that is a little bit of an exaggeration right there. Right, and we can hear that. And we can hear this as well. Right, and what I'm going to do is, this is what I want to focus on in the next chain of events that I want to, play around with. And I'm planning ahead. And I know that LFO tool cannot add, it can only kind of take away. So I'm going to plan for this, and I want to give myself like a lot of leeway with what I'm doing. So essentially, I'm going to boost this. Right, so that is an exaggerated kick there. And I'm also going to prepare this for kind of what I want to do. So there's a step before the step now, and I want to, let's see here. I want to open that up, and I'm going to add a filter, maybe, yeah, like 18 dB per octave, and set the cutoff to the LFO 1. And let's see here, let's go to LFO 1 when it'll show me. Thank you. All right, so I want to bring this down and look at the waveform. Right, okay, so there's this here. Right, and I want to preserve that click. And that click is still exaggerated, but I'm planning ahead with what I'm doing. So right now I want to shape that, I guess the harmonics of that kick, and I have that super high transient here, and that's pretty obnoxious, but it's there because I planned ahead. So I just dropped in a new LFO tool, and yeah, here is my kick, and now I can adjust that. I can adjust that transient, right? Because I know I can't boost transient. That's, I can't boost it in LFO tool. I can only reduce it. Right, so yeah, there's that. I can even, maybe shape it slightly and things like that. So now let's add another Saturn just for the sake of example. I want an overall effect, and I want maybe clean tube. Right, and that transient is still there. I don't want to lose it, and the low end is being affected now. Right, so now what I want to do is, yeah, let's add in an EQ. Let's split it up a little bit. So I have all these harmonics to work with now, and it's easier to, when you plan ahead, it's easier to take away harmonics. I mean, it's easier to reduce the sound of harmonics than to boost them. If you boost them, you just get like this weird kind of sound. And the way that FabFilter works is, I'll just give you an example. So this is a, gentle distortion. If I wanted to increase the distortion with an EQ, it just wouldn't sound good, right? But if I have a bunch of distortion and I wanted to adjust the overall volume of that, it would be easier to kind of, have it accentuated like a little bit, louder. You don't need to get in there and make everything sonically balanced while you're doing this creative processing. Let's find that. All right, so let's get rid of that a little bit. There's another little frequency in there. And yeah, let's give this a gentle roll off. All right. Okay, so there is that. Oh, let me get a low cut. Oops. Never mind. Try that again. There we go. All right, so I have that there. And the idea of that is I can add in, I guess, more kind of harmonic effect. Well, let's just see here. What do we got? Let's get, Devastator. Why not? Right? Because, I planned ahead. I've shaven off a lot of the harmonics, and I'm going to add them in, again, using a different distortion unit. Right? Something like that. Why not? And, I can get in there and do all sorts of stuff with the shape. Right, so that's a nice little, like, talky thing. That's pretty cool. And it's being limited. Thank you very much. So now I want to do two things. I want to even out the kick. I'm going to do that with LFO tool here. And let's just look at it. All right, and we got a little bit of a delay, which is okay. That being said, I could adjust it, but this is going to be rendered out anyway. There's a little bit of latency being added with EQ. It's not going to really affect anything, but I actually, I want to level this off a bit. Right? And it's, again, it's easier to take things away than to add them. And that's good practice for EQ. You don't want to be boosting everything. You want to be taking away. If something is not poking through the mix correctly and things like that, don't boost it. Go to other things and then remove those from the frequency spectrum that it's trying to get to. Right, and yeah, I'm just going to adjust this. So always using exaggerated functions and things like that. Right, cool. And yeah, from there, let's take a look at it again. And again, this is like another video, but don't be afraid to use things in series. Don't try to do everything in one plugin. All right. Cool. Yeah. So that looks cool. And yeah, I'll just leave that. Let's let's EQ that. And it's quite even. It has that little bit of coloration on the top there, but it's easier to take that away. And then to, try to, boost it, I guess. Doesn't sound that great. Right? Easier to take away. Okay, so from here, there's a couple things I can do. Get rid of that muddiness. Right, I want to get that transient back in there. Right? Or get more of a transient back in there. So how I'm going to do that, is with LFO tool, obviously. But I need to actually prepare this in order to, I guess, achieve what I want to be achieved. So this is the waveform in question, and I want to add in a utility. I want to make this kind of unity, or like bring the gain to where it was. Right, so now I have control over that transient. Oh, I might not want to do that. There we go. Oops, come back. All right, let's get that transient going. Right, and then yeah, there you have it. There's a like the overall kind of workflow with the exaggeration in mind, because eventually you'll get to the end here, and it won't sound that great. And I'll give you, I guess, I'll try to give you an example. If that wasn't accentuated, and I was trying to make it sound good within the mix as I was making it. Right, I can't add things that aren't necessarily there, but I can take away things that are already there. If that makes any sense. And you know, it makes things easier. So yeah, let's take out that distortion fab filter there. Just yeah. So I hope that made sense. So I guess the moral of the story is, you know, if you are EQing, yeah, try to make everything sound. If you're mixing, I mean, and you're adding effects for a mixing purpose, try to get everything to sound good as you go. But when you're getting into like the creative effects and things like that, I'm always on the side of exaggeration and then reducing, because later on down the line, things get lost. But and things, you know, as you accentuate them, don't sound that good. Hard to explain, but yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned stuff. Take care and have a good one.